All right, April, thank you. Area law enforcement agencies say that tips from Crimestoppers have helped them solve a lot of crimes. This morning, the public's being asked to help find suspects behind 4 separate cases. And Darlene Cusanza from Crimestoppers is with us now. We're starting off with a shooting that happened in Covington.
Yes, and it's sad because this young man actually was deceased in his car for a couple of days because the windows were tinted. But his name's JYRION KORDEZ Dangerfield, and he was only 20 years old. And this actually happened July 26, where he was located. He was a student at Southern University. He actually lives in Hammond, and he came over to Covington to meet someone. And this was over at the Covington Recreation Center, which they have a bunch of fields and things like, football and baseball fields. And he was parked in a handicapped spot, kind of at one of the side fields that weren't used there very much.
Do we know if he was killed in his car?
He was killed in his car, single gunshot wound, and really that's all the information we have at this point. And law enforcement actually didn't discover his body until like 1:30 in the morning of the 26th. So he actually left home, I believe, on the 24th.
So right now you have very few clues in this one, so you really need the public's help in this.
Absolutely, and there's a $5,000 reward in this. So some friends and family came forward to offer additional $2,500. So any information on this one would be appreciated by the Covington PD. And the next one is? The next one is Miss Kelly Bennett. She actually was, there was a double shooting, and this was on April 30th in New Orleans. This was, she was located at the 4400 block of Dauphine Street, and at about 8:15, regretfully, Kelly taken to the hospital and died at the hospital about an hour after the shooting. There was a male victim who is fine, but we're looking for someone in here because finally they have somebody of interest. And this is an individual that we hope that if you know anything about Joshua Santiago, his nickname was also Puerto Rican Josh. He's someone who should have information on this incident, on the killing. He's just a person of interest, but law enforcement...
He's not a suspect in this time.
He is not a suspect. He's a person of interest. But we really do believe he has some information that could actually lead to the perpetrator.
So authorities do want to talk to him. And then last week there were a couple of shootings at a Walgreens, then a Dollar Tree, not that far from each other. And you're thinking they may be related?
They could be related. I mean, certainly there was the double homicide. It was a juvenile and a 21-year-old, I believe, victim. And that was at the Walgreens that afternoon at about 4:30 p.m. last week, I believe on Thursday. And with that case, what we want people to know with that is there is actually a $5,000 cash reward. Okay, it was a double, homicide, so any information. And then later, down the street, probably about less than a mile, there were a quadruple shooting at the Dollar Tree down on Chef Highway. Now, there was a person of interest. The suspect got out of a black Kia. He was wearing a black hoodie and opened fire with an assault rifle. There were 2 juveniles who were shot outside who were the intended targets, and then there were 2 innocent shoppers shot inside. Now, no one had life-threatening injuries, thank God, but in this particular case, because it is a 4-person injury, we have increased that reward to $5,000. So on both of these cases, if they're connected in the same individuals, we certainly hope someone's going to give us some information on this car. But that's daytime hours when it's a very populated area. People are shopping, kids are out, families are out. We just need to say this needs to end.
And you got to assume that at a Walgreens or a Dollar Tree, they do have surveillance cameras, and that at least some video or something is available. I know we had a shot of the car in one of those cases.
Well, we certainly hope that more information is going to come forward. There were multiple casings at both scenes, so that's all being traced now. But again, this is an area that there's very wide traffic, and certainly Christmas time. So if you have information, there's $5,000 on the table for either one of these cases. Use that money for Christmas, but we really need to get information.
And there were people around in both those cases, and that's why you think somebody does know something. And one of the important things about Crimestoppers is to remind people, if you do call up and give information on somebody, you don't have to worry about retaliation because you always stay completely anonymous.
Definitely, and again, it's cash. Cash rewards paid out only by a tip number. So there's nothing that links back to you. And so now's the time to come forward. We all need to be concerned about these things. You're an innocent shopper and you're shot by the stray bullet. People need to be concerned.
All right. If you know anything, you can call Crimestoppers at 822-1111. Remember, as we said, you don't have to give your name, and you are eligible for a cash reward. A lot of us are getting ready for family and friends to celebrate Christmas and the New Year. Coming up after the break, some tips from the Parenting Center on how to deal with holiday stress, especially with family gatherings.